So this is part two in the buying vintage lenses, and this is how to determine lens quality. The first part is just knowing about brands and knowing who makes good lenses. And good manufacturing and good lenses comes down to something all things are come down to: good quality and good production. And you're gonna have to just pick that up over time. One thing that is that you can look at is the shape of the lens opening. So you're gonna see that the back of that little hexagon is the lens opening, and for lenses you want a rounder shape, or it's preferable to have a rounder shape, and this is because you'll get less distortion in your image. So on this Canon 1.4, you see that it has a hexagonal shape, a six-sided shape, and it has and the thing that changes it are the number of blades and the shape of those blades, so those things in the back. Here's a Carl Zeiss Jena, and it has a lot more blades, as you can see, and this equates to a much more rounder opening right there, a lens opening, and that's preferable because there's gonna be a lot less distortion and a cleaner bokeh, which we're going to get to in a second. So these are some of the two biggest things people think about when they buy lenses: the f-stop and the number of blades. So that opening shows the bokeh, and the bokeh means what it looks like when it's out of focus. And so when something's out of focus, you want it to be really out of focus. That's a good lens does that. It has a really clean bokeh. You can see when I focus on these lights and I make them go out of focus, this shape around the lights is actually pretty round, which is what you want. But I think that's a misnomer. I think lenses with more blades, there's just less distortion in that bokeh. So here's that Carl Zeiss, and there's just a lot less distortion than the other one right here. See, it's a little more accurate. But I think it's better to look at images. So I took some pictures of a wind chime outside my house, and this is with the Zeiss at 2.8, and you can see the background's out of focus. The more you increase your aperture, the more the background is going to come in focus. So here's that f8. I switched to Canon 1.4, and you can see it's way more out of focus than that Zeiss before. And when we get to 2.8, it's going to come more in focus. And then again when we get to 8. But I think people overdo this and they try to compare it. So when you put the Zeiss and the Canon side by side, the bokeh is very similar, and the only people who are really going to notice are photographers. So I think it's a little bit overrated. Just getting a good lens that you like is more important for me. The last part is the coating, and this is really hard to describe, but I put some pictures up I took with my Sheikah T4 and some film. And the coating controls the contrast and just how the color comes into the lens. So it makes a huge deal because it gives it almost like a little punch, and that's the best way I can say it. The pictures you take with the Tessar coating just have this extra punch, and lenses without it don't have that, and I just can't describe it any other way than that. But Zeiss knows what it's doing, and Zeiss has that Tessar coating, and it really does make a difference for me. The thing I didn't talk about are zoom lenses, and zoom lenses have more elements, which are pieces of glass, and it has more groups, which are groups of glass, and it makes it more complicated, and I don't use them that much, so I won't talk too much about that. So what about recommendations? It's hard for me to give recommendations on lenses because I think it's such a personal thing. Knowing what lens a photographer uses kind of tell you a lot about what they shoot and what they do. But I would recommend everyone get a 51.8 in your camera manufacturer's body and just try it and start there. It's going to be really hard to outgrow a 51.8, and I think it just can really set you up to see where you like to go on lenses. So hope that helps. Thanks.